Hello YouTube, welcome back to a new video with Rams Fan YT. In today's video, we're going over the promotions and relegations that have happened over the last week, not this midweek fixtures counting, so the Birmingham City one will be in the next video, but Southampton's relegation, several other teams. I mean, Derby got a 0-0 draw, so certainly we're against Burnley last night, so certainly promotion and relegation in the Championship still very much up for grabs, and several ones in non-league as well. This is part 3. There may have been a club which you support which have already been relegated. They may be one of the previous videos, but let's get straight into it with the first team we've got relegated being United Services Portsmouth. Having only picked up 12 points in the Wessex League Premier Division and conceding 88 and only scoring 27, it is now mathematically confirmed that relegation will occur and marks a return to the Wessex League Division 1, which were promoted from due to results over COVID. So a few seasons now they've been at Tier 9, but back to Tier 10. A potential team to be relegated is Axminster Town. Only picking up 8 points in the Southwest Peninsula Premier Division East, it has been a long and hard season for the Tigers. They conceded 91 goals, and that is not good enough. So it will now be determined by the FA whether they stay up or go down to the feeder leagues. Another team relegated is Towlaw Town. Towlaw get battered everywhere they go, would certainly be an apt chance for a club conceding 107 goals, and with 1 game remaining on 23 points, they are now relegated. Interestingly enough, they have a great strike force to reduce the goal deficit by almost half to -54. They're a team that has been hanging on in the Northern League Division 1 for a couple of seasons now, and realistically, for the size of the town population-wise, it is always likely to be in a struggle at Tier 9, where many northeastern powerhouses are actually competing as well. Wolverhampton Casuals are another team relegated. Defensively, they haven't been the worst of the relegated teams mentioned in this series, only conceding 71. But scoring 23 proved enough only to get 16 points this season and return to Tier 10 after they were promoted from that level based on the COVID results, much in a similar vein to United Services Portsmouth, as we earlier mentioned. Farsley Celtic have been relegated. Troubled Farsley Celtic were relegated from National League North after a spirited 3-1 loss against Oxford City on Tuesday the 1st of April, their 13th consecutive defeat. The home games have been played miles away at Buxton, while work on their home ground with Citydale is seemingly constantly prolonged, with an update issued this week, the week just gone, concerning the work at the pitch. The relegation has been predicted by supporters since at least December now, mainly due to a difficult off-the-pitch situation, and now they need to be careful not to drop through the Northern Premier League like Blythe Spartans have, and I actually think that is a very realistic danger of happening. Promoted, let's get a bit of positivity. Winsford United. Wins in the name, isn't it? On a night to remember, Winsford claimed the North West Counties League Division 1 South title after defeating Cheadle Heath 4-0 at home. The trophy lift occurred immediately after the match, and the title was claimed with 2 games left to play. What a turnaround for the club, which finished 17th place last season. That was their first season in Tier 10 after they took a voluntary demotion over being switched to the Midland League Premier Division. So question marks do remain over whether they will accept promotion if they do get promoted to the Midland League. I mean, there's a fair few Cheshire teams in the Midland League at the moment. There's Northwich Victoria, 1874 Northwich, and one other, but I can't remember what they are at the moment. But there's a few there, so they will have some local games. Another team promoted is Atherton Laburnum Rovers. Atherton Laburnum Rovers' promotion to Step 5 was confirmed by a pumping of backup Borough 6-0 at Crilly Park. Dave Jones's men have hit form at the right time, winning their last 5, including crucial wins over Droylsden and Nelson a couple of weeks back. The latest victory was the club's 25th of the season, and the further 3 draws put them on 78 points, 5 clear of nearest challengers Nelson. After being defeated in the playoff semi-finals last season, the club returned to the North West Counties League Premier Division for the first time since 2011-12, and it is an impressive turnaround after finishing second to bottom just 2 seasons ago. Another team promoted is St Neots Town. After just their second season back at Step 5, St Neots Town will be promoted back to the next level as United Counties League Premier Division South champions. They achieved their target with 3 games left to spare away at Rugby Borough, with a sparkling haul of 4 goals after falling behind early in the match. In a windy game with little of the accustomed neat passing style of play, they managed to recover the scoreline to come out dominant winners during that game. And that style of play has well and truly deserved them the title and return to Tier 8. Another team promoted is Lichfield City. Lichfield City have been crowned champions with a game to spare after a resounding victory at Whitchurch Alport. Ivor Green's men knew 3 points was all that was needed to secure the Midland Football League crown, and any doubts of the championship was wrapped up thanks to goals from Jamie Spears, Liam Curtin and Callum Griffin. Another team promoted is Egham Town, the Sarnies. After a 3-1 win away to British Airways, they are now Combined Counties Premier Division North champions. This comes after several unsuccessful playoff attempts over the last few seasons and their ground being partly burnt down in 2021. With only 3 losses, 27 wins and impressive 111 goals scored, they've been running away as champions for most of the season now. Relegated possibly is Keynsham Town. After being relegated back to the Western Football League Division 1 in 2022-23, it has been a struggle in Tier 10 with an 18th place relegation battle last season. They are now confirmed to be in the bottom 3, having conceded an abysmal 124 goals. Is it any surprise they are now at the FA's discretion of whether they are going to be relegated to the feeder leagues or not? Another team possibly relegated is Alfold. As Alfold were relegated from the Southern Combination Premier Division in 2022-23 and having finished 15th last season, they are now in the bottom 3 and have conceded 110 goals and only picked up 14 points. So I think it would be little surprise if they get relegated, but that does depend on the feeder clubs having the ground requirements, of course. Another team open to relegation is Dronfield Town. With 1 game left to play, it is now a step too far for Dronfield Town to stay in this division, obviously depending on FA decisions. But with the league below having 7 rounds, it seems unlikely they will stay up. Deduction for fielding an eligible play against Woolwell Town and Aversley Recreation. So maybe without that, they could have stayed up. Another team possibly relegated is Shawbury United. The lateral switch to the North West Counties League Division 1 South has proved to be a cruel factor of a club now facing the FA's decision of whether they are to be relegated. Having picked up 24 points this season, they now look destined to finish last and possible relegation. Another fellow competitor in that league to potentially be relegated is Wolverhampton Sporting Community. Having failed to win against second place Stafford Town, the Wolves now open themselves to relegation, the second team this video from Wolverhampton to possibly do so. It is another club that is forced to switch laterally and possibly relegated from the North West Counties Division 1 South. This shows that the Midland League is vastly inferior to the North West Counties League, I think. But having conceded 91 goals, you do have to point the fingers at the Wolverhampton-based club on this regard as well. We're not totally removed from blame. Another team which potentially could be relegated, and I'm hoping so, is Nedermarket Under-23s. I suspect this won't be the first time I mention a club from Nedermarket being relegated in this series, but the reserve team of Nedermarket have opened themselves up to relegation from the Eastern Counties League Division 1 North. And for one, I would personally love to see them getting relegated because I cannot stand reserve teams playing in Tier 10. They won't finish last. That accolade does go to Swaffham Town. So it would ultimately depend on ground requirements or whether the FA sees it more fair for a reserve team to be relegated than a long-standing team of the main team in the town, really. Relegated for definite this time is Shirebrook Town. After getting promoted via the playoffs last season, if you remember, they had to play their playoff final, which was meant to be at their home ground at a neutral venue because of a wedding, which was quite an interesting headline. Shirebrook's stay at Tier 9 has lasted only a single season, though. And this level has proven time and again a step too far for them. And with only 5 wins all season, it's little surprise they got relegated. Questions now remain over whether it will be the United Counties League or the Northern Counties East League they get relegated to, and whether they can become a yo-yo club, or whether they get promoted back at the first attempt of asking and then stay this time round in Tier 9. But questions do remain. Shirebrook's a good team. In Tier 10, certainly. Relegated Shefford Town and Campden. Having lost 3-1 to Baldock Town, their 4th consecutive defeat, the Blue Men will most likely finish bottom of the league, having only picked up 17 points and conceded 88 goals from 31 games. It seems a long time ago that they managed to do that amazing run to the 3rd qualifying round of the FA Cup in 2022-23, which was their debut campaign in that competition. Relegated Malmesbury Victoria. 2-0 losses against relegation competitors Lydney Town and Long Levens in March led to relegation for the Wiltshire side. After winning the playoffs last season in the Hellenic League Division 1, they will return to that level after only 1 season at Tier 9. Whether the Vics become a yo-yo team will remain to be seen, but for now we know that they will compete at Tier 10 next season. Relegated FC Clacton. FC Clacton have been relegated from the Essex Senior League following a 5-1 defeat to Stanway Rovers. Regularly conceding over 5 goals or 5+ goals have been unfortunately irregular this season, which has resulted in 111 goals conceded and a -74 goal difference. So it is a little surprise that they are only on 16 points and suffering relegation to Tier 10. Relegated Grantham Town. Having been to their ground early in the season in an FA Cup game, I believe it was a great stadium, but plain to see that defence needed severe working on. I mean, they haven't been the worst defensively, conceding 75 goals isn't good enough, but it's not the worst ones we've covered in this video by a long mile. And the Gingerbreads have struggled in the Northern Premier League Division 1 East last season, while they continue to struggle despite being switched to the Midlands Division this time round. And I think they're most likely to go to the United Counties League Premier Division North next season. Relegated Sheffield FC. The world's oldest football club has been relegated from the Northern Premier League Division 1 East. Sheffield visited Pontefract Collieries on the 6th of April and lost 2-1, sealing the relegation to the Northern Counties East League Premier Division for next season. This marks an end to playing Tier 8 football since the promotion from Tier 9 in 2006-07. I mean, that is a long stint at playing Tier 8 football now. That's got to be credited in itself to be able to stay at one level and completely not really challenge for promotion or relegation during that time, from a couple of seasons. For what is that now? Is that 18 seasons? Something like that. Wow. Relegated Steyning Town. Steyning have been relegated from the Isthmian League South East Division with a 5-2 defeat at home to Deal Town. With Steyning being promoted from the Southern Combination last season, they struggled to adapt to Tier 8. And realistically, it seems that the club is happy to be relegated, as it means more rivalries and friendships that have been forged between clubs at the level below are renewed. That's what I gathered from their Twitter post anyway. Relegated Lancing. Another Sussex team in the Isthmian League South East Division this week being relegated is Lancing after losing 9-1 to Herne Bay and conceding 5 goals in 20 minutes. It's the result that confirms relegation. With 107 goals conceded, it is of little surprise that they are relegated to the Southern Combination. Relegated Hythe Town. Hythe Town were relegated following a 5-2 home defeat to playoff-chasing Merstham on Saturday. It ends a 14-year stay in the Isthmian League for Hythe, who were promoted after winning the Kent League in 2010-11. The match marked the first under new chairman Andy Nanda, who became chairman last Tuesday. They will now, not yesterday, the one before. They will now compete in the Southern Counties East League next season. Relegated Sporting Bengal United. Having achieved back-to-back promotions, taking them from the Eastern Counties League Division 1 North to the Essex Senior League to playing in the Isthmian North Division this season, it proved to be a step too far this season, with their rapid ascent proving really just a bit too much of a bridge to cross. They conceded 90 goals, the highest in the league, and will play in the Essex Senior League next season. Let them and Ipswich Wanderers prove why back-to-back promotions does have a roof and can actually lead to a detriment because you spend more time trying to improve your ground facilities than necessarily trying to invest in the playing squad in order to stay in the division. Relegated Weymouth. Weymouth chairman Paul Maitland has said that the relegation from the National League South is extremely painful and vowed to make an imminent return. Well, the Terrace fate was sealed after a 4-1 loss to Eastbourne Borough on Saturday, and the result means that next season the club will play in the Southern League Premier for the first time since 2018-19. The chairman has expressed his sadness for relegation and is now rebuilding the club to be competitive next season. So it will be interesting to see how well Weymouth do at Tier 7. Another team relegated from Tier 6 is Warrington Town. A disappointing season for Warrington Town now officially has its inevitable conclusion. Yellow's relegation from the National League North was confirmed after a 1-0 defeat on Saturday against Curzon Ashton, bringing a 2-season stay at Step 2 to an end. It means Town will return to the Northern Premier League next season, with chairman Toby McCormack admitting the drop left him feeling empty. The bad season signals the first time in 15 years since Warrington was last relegated. The facilities have improved throughout the season, so probably has detracted from playing costs, but there is also the second season syndrome which could play a part. There was an early change in manager, poor recruitment pre-season with players either too young or too old, with ones in the middle age range injured, such as Evan Gumbs and Josh Amos. If you look at the better teams in the division, they don't have a team of youngsters. They're very much experienced or that sort of coming to the peak of their powers. They're also in the bottom 6 for the wage bill, partly because it isn't a professional club, and with spiralling costs associated with football in general, it is little surprise this season was a struggle. The changes financially are interesting, with a loss of Premier League money, which goes towards the National League, but reduced travel costs and the match official costs are halved. So is it a blessing in disguise that Warrington are relegated? It certainly gives them time to make a bit more of a competitive budget, playing budget, because in the league below, they don't need to worry about any off-the-field developments now. They know their ground is good enough to be in the league above, and ultimately they'll be attempting to rebuild, I imagine. And the final team to mention being relegated is, of course, Southampton. The inevitable has been confirmed, really, hasn't it? With Southampton's 3-1 defeat to Tottenham Hotspur, guaranteeing what everyone knew would happen for a long time now. They'll be playing Championship football next season. Ivan Juric's men have become the first Premier League side to be relegated with 7 matches left to play of the season. So they've broken a record there. They still need 2 more points to beat Derby County's 2007-8 record of the lowest point total in Premier League history. Come on, Southampton, do us a favour. We don't want that anymore. You can be known as that team. Ivan Juric has now left the club, to be fair, after defeat against Spurs, but this casts doubts over conveyor belt to managers at the club. Simon Rusk has come in as an interim manager. Russell Martin was dismissed back in December with 9 points from safety and replaced by Juric, who won only twice in 16 games, with the club 22 points from safety. So the question inevitably is, should they have kept Martin? Well, they had a poor transfer window prior to the start of the season. They did get a lot of their better players taken away from them and sold off. The technical director, Jason Wilcox, went to Manchester United. He was a big Martin advocate as well. Martin's style of play is heavily possession-based, which worked in the Championship, where they had the better of the squads. But when in a relegation scrap against great teams in the Premier League, it then became a very easy uphill battle as it to try and get results out of possession, and mistakes did become common, leading to goals conceded. Anyway, that wraps up today's video. Please do subscribe if you are new around here. That would be hugely appreciated. Got Birmingham City's promotion to talk about in the next one because that happened yesterday. There'll be several others which I've missed across non-league as well, which we'll catch up on the next video. We also got the predictions which will be coming up on next Tuesday. But beyond that, I doubt there's going to be any more content. But I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye for now.